Hello viewers, how are you? Do hope you're okay. This is Mr. Victor Shouters once again with learning with Stockstones Cheaters. Hope you found my videos helpful in your studies. More videos are coming up, and the ones you've not watched, please subscribe to my channel to get new updates. Okay, so this time around we learn on solving linear equations. Solving linear equations. Okay, now there are two kinds of linear equations that you might be expected to have the knowledge on how you solve. Okay, sorry, three kinds of linear equations, because the solving more complex equations, exponential equations, the quadratic equations, the cubic equations, and even more complicated ones. But today we start with how do you solve a linear equation? Then how, again, do you identify an equation is linear or non-linear? So linear equations don't have exponents. For example, the first type of a linear equation is this. So first kind is say you have x plus 4 is equals to 9. That's a linear equation. Now, if you look at the variable, which is x, there's no exponent on it. What I mean by an exponent is a value up there, like x squared, or you have x raised to the power 4. These are exponents. So if the exponents are missing, then what you have is a linear equation. Now, how do you solve this? Okay. Now, we need to solve for x. Now, this is what you're going to do. Now, the 4 is standing in the way of us having a solution to x. So simply what we do, and now this is a new trick in algebra, we need to make a crossover of the positive 4 to the other side where there is 9. Okay? So this positive 4, remember we said every value has its own sign before it. So the 4 needs to go on the other side to be with the other integer, which is 9. Now, you can take it that way, or sometimes you can also say you minus 4 on both sides, because if I minus 4 on the left-hand side, the 4 goes, and then I have to minus on the other side. Okay, you can still do that. Now, then this is what you're going to get. So x plus 4, we minus 4 on that side is equals to 9. We still minus 4. By minusing 4 on the left-hand side, I remain with x alone. So x becomes 9 minus 4, which is, we got it right, it's 5. But now there's a new simpler technique to understanding this. You could also do this. Since we had x plus 4 is equals to 9, we simply take the positive 4 on the other side. And now the rule is this. Now, whenever a value crosses the equation sign to either side, the sign it here changes to the opposite. So if it's a positive, becomes a negative. And if it's a negative, you got it right, becomes a positive. Okay, so in this case, you have a positive 4. So if the positive 4 moves on to the right-hand side to be with the other integer, then it becomes a negative 4. So then we go ahead and say then, so x is equals to 9 and negative 4. And the same answer, x is equals to 5. That's the first kind of linear equation. Now, the second kind of linear equation would look like this. Now, say you have 2x is equals to 10. We still need to solve for x. So what do you do in this case? So we are going to look at the 2 is in a combined state with the x, right? So basically 2 is a factor of x, all right? So they are both in a combined state. So what do you do? Now, to eliminate the 2 on the left-hand side, I need to use what you call the divisibility property, or I'm going to divide on both sides by 2. So then I'll divide this side by 2, and then I'll divide the other side as well by 2. So whatever I did on the left-hand side, I do equally the same thing on the right-hand side. So what do we get? So the 2 and the 2 cancel out. And then 2 goes into 2 one time, and 2 goes into 10 5 times. And there you have it. The value for x becomes 5. The value for x becomes 5 in this case. All right. Now that's the second case of a linear equation. All right, that you have to use the divisibility property to solve for it. The first kind, you call it the subtractive property because you had to subtract on both sides. All right. So we've used the subtractive property. You could also have the additive property in the first case. In the second case, they could only be divisibility property. So I'm talking about this. So you have divisibility property. There's the additive property. There is the subtractive property. And there's what you call the multiplicative property. There's the multiplicative property. So there are 4 very important properties that you need to put into account. So far, in this case, you could use, in the first kind, you could use the additive property or subtractive property, okay, to move the integer from one side to the other side, all right? Now, this is the divisibility property. This is the divisibility property. This is the additive. We use the additive property. Now, let's see how you can use the multiplicative property in solving linear equations. Now, for example, if you had a question like this, x over 4, this is that kind. So x over 4 is equals to 5. Now, do yourself a favor by putting the 5 over 1 right there. Okay? Now, this is what you do. We need again to get x. So there's one thing we could do. So we multiply by 4 on both sides. By 4 on that side and by 4 on that side. Okay? So by multiplying by 4, then this is going to give me 4x, because this will be over 1. So 4 times x, 4x, 4 times 1 over 4 is equals to 20 over 1. All right? So the 4 and the 4 cancel out, and we get our x is equals to 20. Now notice we multiplied by 4 on both sides. So that's called the multiplicative property. Okay? Now I hope you understood what you just did there. Now see you in the next video where you will do a bit more of linear equations that are a little bit more interesting. So hope you found this video helpful. So once again, I'll ask you to like, subscribe, and share. And thank you.